Halo teman-teman, selamat datang di video saya, selamat datang di channel saya juga. Dan sebelum kalian menonton video ini, saya ingin mengingatkan kepada teman-teman, jadi jangan lupa untuk don't forget to subscribe this video, don't forget to like this video, karena like dari kalian sangat-sangat penting buat saya. Oke, sebelumnya saya juga ingin menjelaskan beberapa hal penting terkait dengan video ini, terkait dengan pembuatan video ini. Sebenarnya ini adalah video pertama saya, so I'm really nervous to speak on the theme right now. Dan tapi tidak apa-apa karena video ini saya buat sebagai project saya, yaitu untuk memenuhi project saya, yaitu thesis proposal seminar, di mana video ini di dalamnya akan berisi presentasi saya, presentasi thesis proposal seminar saya. Dan sebelumnya juga saya ingin memberitahu kepada teman-teman, berhubung jurusan saya adalah pendidikan bahasa Inggris, so it means that saya akan I'm going to present all the thing in English, okay? Semuanya dalam bahasa Inggris karena thesis proposal seminar saya juga dalam bahasa Inggris, okay? Tapi saya juga ingin mengingatkan secara terus-menerus kepada teman-teman, jadi jangan lupa untuk like video ini karena like dan subscribe dari kalian sangat-sangat berharga dan sangat-sangat bermanfaat buat saya. Oke, jadi saya juga meminta maaf pada teman-teman yang mungkin karena saya presentasinya dalam bahasa Inggris, I'm gonna speak all of in English, so I'm really sorry jika mungkin ada teman-teman yang tidak memahami what I'm talking about, apa yang saya katakan. Jadi saya sangat mohon maaf, tapi tidak apa-apa, you can learn by me, okay? By me, tidak apa-apa. Teman-teman mungkin bisa belajar dari saya, okay? Karena memang kan berhubung jurusannya saya adalah pendidikan bahasa Inggris, so it means that I have to say all the things I'm going to present in English, okay? Jadi terima kasih sudah mampir di channel saya. Okay, let's start from. So guys, let's start to my presentations. Before I'm going to present about my thesis proposal seminar, I'm going to introduce myself, who I am. I am Marina Gratciana Putri, and usually my friends call me Putri, so it means that you can call me Putri. And exactly the title of my research is about the effect of Pictionary board game on students' vocabulary mastery. So it means that this research is conducted for 7th grade students. It is for to increase students' vocabulary, to enrich students' vocabulary, to improve students' vocabulary on 7th grade students, like that. And then on the other hand, this research is conducted for I'm going to know about whether is there any improvement or not of by applying this strategy, by applying strategy of Pictionary board game, like that. And exactly this presentation only about just about my chapter 1. It is about introduction of my research, and it is including of background of study and significance of the study, problem of the study, and hypothesis of the study, objective of the study, and definition of the key terms. This is the last part, is about definition of the key terms. And yes, let's start. For the first one is about background of study. You know, background of study is refers about about ideal, about factual, about why I chose, what is the most important, what is the most interesting part of my research. English became an international language. There are several fields that use English to communicate, like trade, like politics, like education, like technology. But for education in Indonesia, English as taught as a foreign language. So it means that English is not a communication tool that used by the students, by the teacher in Indonesia to use in daily activity, like that. But however, right now, English is a part of the subject that should taught by the teacher. It is start from elementary school, and senior high school, junior high school, and even it is for college students. So it means that English is one of the part that should be taught by the teacher for junior high school. You know, as we know that in English, vocabulary is the part of English, so it means that the teacher, as a foreign language learner, the students must master English, master vocabulary to improve their ability in speaking, in listening, in reading and writing, I think like that. So it means that vocabulary is one of the important elements that should be taught by the teacher to enrich students' vocabulary, of junior high school students, I think like that. So as I explained before, that right now English is a part of the subject that's taught by the teacher for 7th grade students, for junior high school students. So it means that I think vocabulary is the basic competence that must reach by the students in order to get their competence like reading, listening, speaking, and writing. And I think that by having a great vocabulary, by having a good vocabulary, it might be easier for the students to learn English as a foreign language like that. And then you know, this method is supported by Thornberry, expert. He is Thornberry, which is stated that even without grammar we can say something, but without vocabulary we cannot say something. So it means that it shows us how vocabulary has a vital role in learning process of new language, I think like that. And then this is about the ideal of this research, the ideal of my research. But you know, the factual of my research, based on previous observation conducted by, for the first one is conducted by Sirta L. Rusyada. So okay, for the first observation that conducted by L. Rusyada, Ujang Suparman, and Sudirman, they were found that there are several problems that faced by the teacher in teaching vocabulary. So, and this is arising when they did pre-observation. Okay, there are several problems that faced by the teacher in teaching vocabulary. So I'm going to read about several problems that they were found, the teacher have found in teaching vocabulary. Okay, for the first problem is about the classroom activity was mostly teacher centered. This is the first problem that they were found in their pre-observation. And then the second one is about some students didn't exactly do what the teacher had instructed. This is the second problem. Okay, this is really interesting, you know. And the third one is about the teacher faced a difficulty to attract whole students in recalling English vocabulary. This is the third problem that they were found in their pre-observation. And the fourth is about less interactive classroom and the students and the use of conventional teaching. And the use of conventional teaching methods make the students become uninterested in becoming active participants in learning process. This is the fourth problem that faced by the teacher in teaching vocabulary. And the last part is about the teacher also face a difficulty to know whether the students have fully understood the vocabulary or not because of their passiveness during the teaching learning process. So it's really interesting, you know. It means that all of these problems are found by the researcher in their pre-observation, which is they were found that in teaching vocabulary, the students is interested to learn vocabulary, to master vocabulary, to follow the lesson, and the students didn't exactly what the teacher had instructed, I think like that. This is the first problem that have found by this research, that have found by Ujang Suparman, Sudirman, and Sirta L. Rusyada. This is the first gap that they were found. So yes, this is the reason why I chose this title, because this gap. Okay, for the next factual, it is arising from Vidyarianti research. In her observation that it was found there are several problems that faced by the teacher in teaching vocabulary, it is including, for the first one is about the students face difficulty in learning process, particularly in learning vocabulary. This is the first problem that found by Vidyarianti in her research. And the second one is about most of the students had problem in vocabulary learning, especially in pronouncing the words. You know, it is especially they were found that the students is difficulty in learning process, particularly in pronouncing the word and mastering the word. It is really it's really hard to students to master vocabulary, to increase their vocabulary. And the third one, it is it is really hard to the students to master English vocabulary. And so I think because of that, because all of the problem based on the first observation that conducted by L. Rusyada and the second observation that conducted by Vidyarianti, all of those problems are conclude that so it means that the teacher must find suitable technique. Okay, I think that the teacher must find suitable technique to increase, to improve, to enrich students' vocabulary, to encourage students interested to learn vocabulary. Because I think the use of appropriate teaching, the use of suitable technique that used by the teacher, that applying by the teacher, it is really suitable. It's really good. It's really it's really properly to use, because the use of appropriate teaching, can increase, it can improve, it can enrich, it can increase students interested to learn new vocabulary. Because vocabulary is the basic, as I explained before, vocabulary is the basic competence that must reach by the students. So it means that the teacher must consider, but there are so many things like teaching method, like the media, the material that used by the teacher to increase student interested to master vocabulary. I think like that. Okay, so as I explained before, that the teacher must consider about the suitable technique, the properly technique that can use by the teacher in teaching vocabulary. And then so in this research, I'm going to conduct this research by using game. So it means that and I think that game is the suitable technique to use to make students interested to learn new vocabulary, to master new vocabulary. But you know, this idea is supported. This idea is not by myself, but this idea is supported by Simpson, by expert Simpson. He said that this teacher should encourage the student to use game to help practice new language in the classroom. So it means that it is really important to students, to the teacher, to use game in teaching vocabulary, because to be sure that game is about the suitable technique is the I think that to be sure that game is the suitable technique, is the appropriate technique to increase students interested to learn new vocabulary, to master new vocabulary. Because the use of game in teaching vocabulary, it is make the lesson more interesting, more enjoyable, and more effective. By the reason which is stated that the use of game is appropriate method that can use by the teacher in teaching vocabulary. So the use of game is appropriate method, which is it can be make learning processes more enjoyable, more effective, and more interesting. So because of that, in my research, I'm going to use game, which is the game that I use is Pictionary board game. I'm going to use Pictionary board game as my media in increase, in improve, in enrich students' vocabulary. I think like that. And what else? And the use of the consideration of the applying of Pictionary board game is supported by Imamura, which state that Pictionary board game is the excellent way for the students to display their knowledge. And Imamura stated like that. So it means that the use of Pictionary board game strategy is the excellent way to increase students, to make students more interested in learning new vocabulary. I think like that. And on the other hand, according to Townsend, Pictionary board game is a familiar game created by Milton Bradley and Craig. It is a simple game that provided the student with the academic board. So it means that it is like the same of before. Because in this research, I'm going to use Pictionary board game as my strategy to increase students' vocabulary, to increase students interested to learn new vocabulary. And you know, exactly, there are several experts. There are two experts that have proved about the use of Pictionary board game in teaching vocabulary. And they are, the first one is Rina Dia Iswandari, and the second one is about Malarovika Sari. You know, these experts, these researchers have proved about the use of the applying of Pictionary board game on teaching vocabulary. And in Rina Dia's research, it was found that there is significant difference between experimental class and control class on by applying Pictionary board game. So it means that there is improvement of the applying of Pictionary board game on students' vocabulary mastery. It is on Rina Dia research. And the second one is about on Malarovika Sari's research. It was found that the data showed t-value higher than t-table. So it means that there is any positive significant difference between experimental class and control class by applying Pictionary board game. So it means that all of these researchers have proved about the applying of Pictionary board game on students' vocabulary mastery. So maybe do you think that the applying of Pictionary board game have proved by some researchers. So because of that, why you still choose Pictionary board game as your strategy to increase your vocabulary? So maybe you think that, maybe your reason like that, but you know, what's that? Why I still choose this method, this strategy to increase the vocabulary, to use as my strategy to increase the vocabulary? Because exactly there are several differences about the previous study and my research. For the previous study on Malarovika Sari, she used experiment. Yes, it is the same with me. She used quasi-experimental research design, which is the experimental research design will be taught by using Pictionary board game, and a control group was taught by using traditional teaching method. So the difference of the previous study, the difference of Malarovika Sari study and my research, in my research I'm used quasi-experimental research design, which is the experimental class is taught by using a Pictionary board game, but the control class is using secret card. This is the difference for Malarovika Sari's research and my research. And the second one is about Rina Dia Iswandari's research. In Rina Dia Iswandari's research, it is the same with me. She used quasi-experimental research design, but in in experimental class she used Pictionary board game, and in control class she used traditional method. I think she used traditional method. So in my research, for experimental class I use Pictionary board game, and for control class I use secret card. This is the difference between my research and Rina Diaz research. And all of these are the differences about the previous study. If I compare the previous study with my research, because of that, I still choose Pictionary board game as my strategy because this reason. Because what's that? Yes, as I said before, for we have the same we conduct the same research design, but for experimental class and control class, I think for experimental class and control class we use the different strategy and technique. Thus, based on the explain about the ideal, about the factual, about the problem, about the previous study, about the what else? About the previous study, about the about the opinion some expert that support me about the playing of Pictionary board game. So because of that, all of those problems make me still use Pictionary board game as my strategy to develop students' vocabulary mastery. So and it will be conclude that the use of or the applying of Pictionary board game, I assume that the use of by using Pictionary board game, it can be it can be developed, it can be enriched, it can be increased students' vocabulary by using Pictionary board game. So this is the last part. Okay, and for the next is about it is for my background of the study why I chose Pictionary board game as my title, as my research, and what is the problem, what is the ideal, what is the factual, what is the previous study. So all of those are concluding in my background of study. And for the next is about the problem of the study. So for the problem of the study that I have provided before, that for my research is about the first is about the question is there any significant differences between students who are given Pictionary board game or students who are give not what's that, or students who are give not Pictionary board game. This is my problem of the study, only one. And the second one is for the next is about hypothesis. For the hypothesis one, there is any significant difference between students who are given Pictionary board game and students who are given secret card. This is the hypothesis one, or hypothesis positive. And the second one is about hypothesis O, or hypothesis negative. For hypothesis O, there is no significant difference between students who are given Pictionary board game and students who are given secret card. All of those are my hypothesis and problem statement that I'm going to know about whether is there any improvement of or not of students' vocabulary mastery. Yes, and the next is for objective of the study. For objective of the study, I conduct this research to know about is there any significant difference or not of the students who are given strategy Pictionary board game and students who are given secret card. I'm going to know whether is there any improvement or not, is there any progress or not. And then for the next is about significance of the study. There are two purposes why I conduct this research and why I choose Pictionary board game as my strategy. And for the purposes, as the first one is practically and the second one is about theoretically. For the practically, this finding is expected to support theories about vocabulary and vocabulary mastery and application and apply of strategy Pictionary board game. Like that, this is theoretically. This is the purpose of theoretically of my research. And the second one is about practically. This finding is hope can contribute to significant progress in teaching vocabulary. So there are three main things here. The first one is for junior high school students, and the second one is about English teacher, and the second one is about feature researcher. So for junior high school students, learning vocabulary through Pictionary board game can help students of junior high school to improve and to enrich their vocabulary mastery. And this is for junior high school students. What about for English teacher? For English teacher, this finding is expected to provide ideas for teacher to improve students' vocabulary by using Pictionary board game as a media in teaching vocabulary. This is for English teacher. This is the purpose of this research for English teacher. And the last one is about feature researcher. This finding is expected to be one of the reference for other study to conduct research with the same strategy and different research designed to improve the quality of teaching vocabulary through Pictionary board game. So this is the purpose of this research to researcher in the future, I think like that. And the last one is about definition of the key term. So there are three main things. There are three keywords of my title. The first one is about Pictionary board game, and the second one is about vocabulary, and the last is is mastering vocabulary. So I'm going to read it. I just read this definition of the key term. The first one is about vocabulary. According to Lesson Clausen 2013, define vocabulary as the word of a language, including single items and phrase or chunks or several words which convey a particular meaning, the way of individual words too. So this is the definition of vocabulary, okay? And the second one is about Pictionary board game. According to Brian Robin, stated that Pictionary board game is the children's game so based on the board game of the same name, in which two teams of children compete in a thriving game for prize. This is the definition of Pictionary board game. And the last one is about mastering vocabulary. According to Thornberry, mastering vocabulary means that the students have comprehensive knowledge about the vocabularies, which is including the meaning, the spoken form, the written form, the grammatical behavior, the word derivations, the collection of words, and the register of the word, spoken and written, the connotation of association of the word, and the verb and frequency of the word. So this is the definition about about mastering vocabulary. So friends, I think that's all my presentation today. Thank you for your attention, and terima kasih sudah mampir ke channel ini. Terima kasih sudah nonton video saya. I'm so happy to know that you watch my video. Saya sangat bahagia mengetahui kalian menonton video saya sangat bahagia, karena itu adalah hal yang paling bermanfaat dan berharga buat saya. Oke? Jadi terima kasih sudah like video ini, dan terima